I'm the cream filling. I'm the meat.
I'm the meat between the buns, baby.
Yeah. I'm assuming that was recording, yeah.
I'll fill it.
So welcome back to the Bar Talk Podcast. I guess I'm the bread today. So I am Andy of Inebriart, and I'm joined by Karl Heine of the New World Tavern.
Hello, everybody.
And Dan Mahoney, as always, from where you work, Stats.
Yeah.
Is that the official announcement now?
It's
so
official.
You've been working there for like 6 months?
Yep. You can now tell people I work there.
Nice.
Cut this out, fish.
An old friend of Inebriart's was there, basically the founding of Inebriart.
I mean, yeah, it was way long time ago at a bar far away.
Yeah, Tony, pronounce your last name so I don't have to.
Vannozzi.
Who is a bar manager at Pinz. Welcome
Yep.
to the show. I apologize for everything that you're about to go through. And before we kind of get into the show today, I want to read fan mail. We got fan mail, Karl.
Fan mail.
Fan mail.
See what happens? You come
There's
back for
the
one
mail
episode
that
and
never
people
fails.
write us letters.
Well, it was more like he was off for a couple and they wrote us
maybe,
letters.
maybe that's what it was.
I'm not saying that's a coincidence.
So is it mail or was it like a?
Well, her name is Carrie.
So it was an email.
It was a direct message through Facebook.
So it's not mail.
A DM,
So
the
it's
kids call
a
it.
fan direct message through Facebook.
Slipped into the DMs.
Slide into
Yeah.
the DMs.
They slid into your DM.
Ooh.
So this one comes from Carrie Rooney. And she says, "Hey guys, you have no idea the joy your podcast brings to my life. I work in the produce department of a grocery store in Pacific Beach, a neighborhood in San Diego, California. I cut fruit and put it in little containers for folks who don't own knives and make fresh squeezed OJ with the Cadillac of orange juice machines. I really wish the champagne or vodka fairy would visit me on days I make juice. Alas, I must make do listening to your podcast as it helps drown out the horrible music playing in an incessant loop of suck on the store's speakers. Plymouth sounds like a great town, and I love hearing your stories about the industry in the area. Pacific Beach has its own small town vibe nestled in the big city. My husband and I met many moons ago working in a local establishment. Classic door guy knocks up cocktail waitress story. Bar owners here tend to stick together. The local drinking culture also has to share its space with some fairly clueless tourists and even more clueless college newbies. Some of the bars have made it through the test of time and even through crappy Yelp reviews. I have a bunch of friends who own bars in town. They've been brutalized by the mafia of reviews, and I hate Yelp, which everybody seems to hate Yelp.
Boo Yelp.
Here's a review and response my buddy shared. Thought you'd get a kick out of it. Please keep recording. You'd brighten my day and crack me up.
So do you think she meant some other podcast?
No, I'm pretty sure she meant ours.
Well, first of all, thank you, Carrie. Not
Yeah,
only
see,
did you
that's-
give us nice words, you also flustered Andy really bad, and it was funny for us.
Dude, I don't read so well.
I've read books shorter than that.
Yeah.
It was a very long message, but it was very nice, Karl.
Oh yeah, it was very nice. Yeah, very nice.
So why are you poo-pooing it already?
I'm not poo-pooing it. I'm just saying.
She's
got a lot of time on her hands.
Carl's just
Chopping up fruit and making orange juice.
I
She's
mean,
requesting.
I like orange juice.
Okay.
I'm intrigued by this Cadillac of orange juice machines.
It sounds like it's pretty amazing.
I mean,
I like
I've seen
fruits.
some pretty impressive orange juice machines.
you had to,
I said I like fruits. I like orange juice.
We've seen your drinks. Yeah.
and the shirts you wear with said fruits on them.
Nothing wrong with a fruity drink. Okay?
Nothing.
So
It all depends on what you call it.
2019, drink what you want.
Yeah.
Some bumper stickers.
It's almost 2020.
Put it almost. We'll see when the Frog Pilgrims get here.
So we
That was
have.
for you, Carrie, because I know you listened to that episode.
So we, with our guest, we were talking earlier about millennials and their effect on business, and we had to explain to Karl what a millennial is.
So answer the question. What's a millennial?
So a millennial is a person that was born around the millennium.
All right. So if you're born around the millennial,
What?
then
Why-
you're only 19 years old.
I said
What the hell
around.
do I care about them?
Why are you shaking your head at me?
Uh-oh. Fish is
There we
going to
go.
do math now.
It's because you're wrong, Andy.
Producer notes.
Yeah, rule of thumb, millennials were basically born in the early 80s to early 90s, so anyone who's coming of age in the millennium, not born.
No. All
Like,
right.
you know, in your 30s, not teens.
There you go. There's your answer, Karl.
So a millennium was born in the 80s.
Yeah,
80s and 90s.
like me and Dan and I think Tony.
Yeah, and like if Super Troopers is one of your favorite movies, you're probably a millennial. I think that's the deciding factor. Like if you can quote, "I can't pull over, I'm already pulled over."
Do you think that's the defining character?
So you don't say I was born in the 80s, I was born in the 90s, then I was born in the millennium.
It's this. space.
How do you say it? If you were born in 2002,
but this is the
how do
thing,
you say
is
when were you born? I was
They don't
born in the
refer to
2000s?
themselves as millennials.
Right. It's usually
It's the older generation.
Right.
It's the same thing that my generation was called Generation X. I've never called myself Generation X. People are like, when were you born? I was born in the 70s. That's how that works.
Karl's part of the Pepsi generation.
New Coke?
You'd be a boomer.
Crystal clear.
Would you be a baby boomer?
I'm not a baby boomer.
You're not Generation
No,
X.
baby boomer was before me. I'm between baby boomer and Generation X.
Generation Y.
The mystery generation.
The best generation.
So there's been a lot of...
No, that's the one that won World War II and the Depression.
Yeah.
That one was already taken.
Which one?
The best generation.
The greatest.
The greatest
generation.
generation.
Oh, no.
Yeah, greatest.
Yeah. But I
Don't
still-
sell them short.
Yeah.
We don't need bad Yelp reviews.
Your generation can be the second best, Karl.
Okay, I'll go second.
The second best?
Anyway,
You know, they say
anyway.
what, second place.
So,
first
what are we going
loser.
to talk about today?
We're going to talk about millennials and their effect on...
Yeah, I still don't get it. How can you be a millennium? A millennial if you're born in the 80s? Let's just go right over.
Well,
it.
I didn't name them, Karl. But there's a lot of talk that they're hurting corporate bars, that they're drinking less beer.
I mean, I think they're drinking less Bud Light.
Yeah.
But
I
are they
think
hurting
they're
the corporate bars, or do you mean they're hurting bars in general?
I think it's mostly. I mean,
Chain
They're
restaurants and
they're
stuff.
the people that tend to
gravitate to dive bars.
dive bars, to farm to table.
Drink
Foodies.
local, eat local, that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Instagram, all the food on the table, that kind of people.
So
The guys who ask for
You-
Wi-Fi passwords before they ask for a menu. That group.
gotcha. Yeah. I got to get one of those.
A Wi-Fi password?
Yeah.
I thought you had one.
He does. Their wife.
So I don't understand the difference between free Wi-Fi and Wi-Fi. So if somebody says, "What's your Wi-Fi?" I can charge them $1.
You can just not give them the password, so we
Yeah.
don't have we don't have Wi-Fi. We don't have public
But we
Wi-Fi.
do. It's just
So that's it. You have free
so if
Wi-Fi.
I tell them. So if I tell somebody my password, it's then free.
free
Yeah.
is more...
If you write it on the chalkboard, it's definitely free.
Yeah. Free is more like you're not in prison. Free. It's out there. You can use it.
Oh, so not free, like I don't have to pay for it.
Right. I mean, you have to pay for it. It's your business. You're paying for Wi-Fi.
So can I charge the guy $1?
You can
How
try.
about get off your
Yeah, you
computer
can.
and have a beer and talk to the bartender?
I mean, that
That's
culture
the
is
exact-
dying. Yeah.
That's the
That's the
exact thing
millennial.
we're talking
That's
about.
That's the
Yeah.
millennial, Karl. But there's also talk that they've been hurting industries, and I say this, they're hurting industries. It's the industry's fault for not keeping up with the times, in my opinion.
I mean, that's definitely a part of it. I think that a bigger part of it is that it's you could go and if the baby boomer sits there and watches a football game and drinks 10 Bud Lights, they're drinking 3 of something else, and that's a definite differentiation that has changed the marketplace a lot. Is the introduction of craft beer has changed what people are offering, what people are going for, and those not so trendy or backwards looking franchises and corporate restaurants have not adapted to that.
So you're saying that people will not go there because they don't have the beers that
I
they
mean,
want
that's
to drink.
a lot of it.
Well, I think you go to a lot of chain restaurants, so they all have craft beer. I think it's more they don't want to go to the commercializing because it's not cool because you can't go look at this duck platter I got at this local restaurant that you can't go to, or you go to Applebee's and get the same burger that anyone in the world can get. I think that's really where the millennial.
So you think it's like an
Well-
exclusivity?
I think so. I mean, that
Yeah.
seems
I
to
mean,
be a lot.
I can go to Fridays here in Plymouth, or I could go to Fridays in St. Louis or one in L.A. and take the same picture of my Sesame Jack chicken strips.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, if I go to someplace local and take a picture of the food, I mean, that's definitely a part of it, is the exclusivity and the fact that having worked for some corporate companies, you know, you look at a local beer and you're like, ooh, this is great, let's get this. And they're like, well, is it available for all of our locations? We're only going to carry beers that you can get everywhere.
But is there a bit of, I don't know if hypocrisy is the right word, because I feel like the millennials want the super local beer, but then they want PBR.
correct.
Well,
You're
I mean,
right.
they want both.
You're right.
I mean,
So
I think there's also a difference between a millennial and a hipster. and the hipsters want the PBR. Some of them are millennials, but that's a sub.
So
Subset.
every hipster's a millennial, but not every millennial's a hipster.
Right.
Kind of.
Right.
I think so. I mean, Miller
Hipsters
High
have
Life.
handlebar mustaches, Karl.
I know what a hipster is. I got kids.
Okay. Who are millennials?
So, in your definition, what is corporate? What is a corporate restaurant? Is it 2, 3, 50?
You work for
107?
Pinz. Would you consider Pinz corporate?
I mean, we're working on it. It's definitely we're moving in that direction. But I think that when you go from, hey, I know the owner, or this guy's the owner, to I don't really know who the owner is. There's a company that owns this. I think that's really the deciding factor. I mean, having worked for, again, some of those larger players, it's like, I know who the CEO is, but I don't know who the owner is because they've got shareholders, and that stuff's out on the public market, and I have no idea who actually owns it. Somebody could walk in and go, I own 30% of the shares in this company, and I wouldn't know them by look. I know who my district manager is. I know who my CEO is because I can look that up on Google. But as far as who actually owns a large corporate restaurant, you don't have an idea. Maybe being publicly
I
traded
think the
is
goal
the line.
of all restaurants are that the owners aren't at their restaurant
Yeah.
80 hours.
I mean, I'm sure you don't want to be there every day.
Right. So I mean, I would love to have a place that's so profitable that I don't have to be there, and I'll just collect my check every week. But I know that some people think, if you have 2, 3, 4 of them, is that corporate? No, it's just maybe I have 2, 3, 4 restaurants. Maybe they're the same, maybe they're not.
And there's lots of those around here, like we were talking
Absolutely.
earlier, Flynn's, Mamma Mia's, there's a ton of those. But
Right.
I wouldn't
So are they
consider it
a corporate restaurant?
I mean, technically, it's a
This-
corporation.
And at
but
this point, they own multiple concepts.
Correct.
I mean,
Oh,
they're on
right,
their
they
third.
do, don't
They're on
they?
their third concept here.
Right.
They're, an umbrella company with multiple concepts and restaurants
Right.
all over the South
So
Shore.
would you consider them a corporate restaurant? And if you did, and you were a hipster / millennial, would you not go to their bar because they're considered corporate?
No, they're chicken broccoli Alfredos to die for. It would.
So I don't really think there's a straight answer to this. I think people will go wherever they want. Put it this way: if me and my wife are going out to dinner, and we go to what we consider right now as a corporate restaurant, and we have a really nice meal and some nice drinks, and we have a great time, I would go back in a minute. If we went there and we didn't feel that the food was up to par, or the drinks were up to par, or that the employees, or the people that were there, the hospitality employees that are really there to entertain me, were subpar, then I would never go back.
Absolutely.
So I don't. I understand that people don't want to go to corporate because they want to stick it to the man and all that stuff, like back in the 70s. But go where you like to eat, go where you like to drink, go where you like the bartenders, whether it's corporate, whether it's a small town and it's just a one little cafe. Just go where you like, and we've said this about craft beer a million times. If you like to drink Michelob Ultra, drink Michelob Ultra. Don't. There shouldn't be a stigma to what you're drinking, and that could go on for liquor, it could go on for craft beer, it could go on for anything. If you like a PBR, have a PBR. If you want to go and have a $12 milkshake IPA, then go get it. So drink what you like. There's no wrong thing out there. It's only a perception of you doing a wrong thing, and I think that's what's wrong about it.
2019, no booze bullying.
no booze bullying.
No booze bullying.
No booze bullying.
Drink what you like.
Yep.
But I like the article that I was reading was talking about how Applebee's specifically was kind of like pointing to millennials as a reason why they're struggling.
Yeah, and it could be.
Right. So is it on Applebee's to, and I think it is, that's Applebee's response. Like, I kind of felt in the article they were kind of like, oh, they're not, it's their fault. It's not. It's you're the business.
That's correct.
So
You have to adapt to
right.
Adapt.
So,
the marketplace.
So how do you adapt to a marketplace that doesn't want you?
It's tough, but
And
sometimes this all goes in cycles. Like, people might hate Applebee's today. Next week, everyone's gonna love Applebee's
Right.
because Kanye West wore Applebee Yeezys or something like that. I know you didn't understand a single word I just said, Karl.
I heard
but
Kanye West, and then I don't know what he said.
Right, my eyes rolled in the back of my head like a feeding shark.
Exactly.
West, he must be the CEO or something.
No, he's a singer. Well, what was he wearing?
He's a producer.
he makes sneakers that you can't buy anywhere.
Oh, okay.
No, they don't make New Balance.
No.
So I guess, is it killing corporate? It might be, but shame on corporate for not keeping up with that. And yes, the corporate culture is same thing everywhere. Maybe it shouldn't be. Maybe it should be a little local flair in each Applebee's and for whatever neighborhood they were in. I mean, that's always what Applebee's was about. And we're not picking on Applebee's. It's just
It just came up.
yeah, we just came up. But it's what is it? Eat in your neighborhood or whatever it is. So why is that neighborhood the same as the St. Louis, which is the same as Los Angeles? Maybe they should be a little different in every neighborhood.
Oh yeah, and I think that one of the things is there's restaurants that are themed to a location too, and they try to be the same everywhere. Pizzeria Uno, Chicago Bar and Grill. They're always going to have pictures of the White Sox, and they're always going to have pictures of the Cubs on the walls, and they're going to have a picture of the '86 Bears. Sorry, Patriots fans, but that's always going to be what's on the walls there. But when you go to places like, the 99 is a perfect example. Every 99 you walk into has a picture of the local softball team on the wall, and it's from whichever high school is the nearest to the location, because they're trying to make it into your local bar. And they're putting pictures of maybe your kids or your friends' kids right there in the corner, and I think that that's one of those things that's kept
That makes,
that.
But I think
to
a
me,
lot
that
of-
makes more sense than especially any other sports team in this area.
In the corporate way of buying it's buying power. And that's why they don't. That's their menu is the same as everywhere else because they come out with deals saying, "Listen, I'll buy all these chicken fingers for my 2,000 restaurants," and the guy that's making the chicken fingers say, "Okay, I'll give you a deal on it." If they maybe change their menu to the local flair, and it doesn't have to be everything, but maybe that would bring in the millennials. I don't know. If I knew, I'd be the richest man in the world.
Right. I was going to say, I'd make a lot more money if
That's
I
right.
had that golden key
That's
for
right.
that.
But you can't. But I think Andy's right. I don't think you can blame the millennials for not coming to your place.
Right.
You have to get people in. Don't blame everybody else why your business is down. Do something so that your business isn't down.
Yep, there's plenty of chain restaurants that are still doing fine out there, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you walk over to an Olive Garden on a weekday, you'll see it packed because everyone wants their cheap soup salad and breadsticks and stuff like that. So,
And Darden's brilliant for their location choices,
Yep.
and they charge you for pasta, which is dried goods and boiled water.
Right.
yeah.
And I have family members that eat almost exclusively. They travel a lot and they eat almost exclusively at chain restaurants because they can be in St. Louis, they can be in LA, they can be in Chicago. May not be the best dish they've ever had, but they know it's going to be consistent.
The same can be said for a McDonald's hamburger, though. If I pull into a
correct.
McDonald's
Yeah.
drive-through here or
Correct.
St.
Yeah.
Louis,
It's gonna
and
be exactly the same.
And that's what made McDonald's have the most locations of any restaurant in the world. Is that
But fast food is something else that's been struggling, and they're trying to. Have you gone into a McDonald's that's been redone? It
doesn't look like a McDonald's anymore.
not at all. It looks like a Starbucks.
They had somebody bring my food to my table last time I was there. I had to get a little triangle and sit down at my table, and they brought me my food.
I think that brings up a point we wanted to make later in the show. We can bring it up now. Is Burger King is doing the Impossible Burger.
Right.
So
Yeah, and so that's kind of ties into the
Right.
whole thing with.
So
trying to-
a while ago it was hot dogs. Now they're doing the Impossible Burger. At least they're making an effort.
Burger King does
to,
hot dogs.
to change.
They do
their-
tacos now.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And at least they're making an effort to change to get business in, and I'm not sure what their business is about, but it's just if you're not willing to change, then you're going to die.
No, and I think that Burger King took some serious hits that have perpetuated this change very quickly, where precipitated, not perpetuated, precipitated this change.
A
Where
lot of big words coming out.
I know, we don't use vocab like that.
I'm Googling them right now.
that they were losing market share. They were getting killed by Wendy's. Red Robin came on the scene, which was pretty much fast food, but you can have a beer while you wait for it. And that was on fire for a while. They were rapidly expanding, and they're doing the DoorDash. That was something we were thinking about talking about later too. Is that they're doing DoorDash. These companies are going to delivery because I can get exactly what I want to drink. I can watch exactly what I want to watch on TV. I can spend that time with my significant other at home, and I can get restaurant food delivered from whatever restaurant I want. But I think that's also a part of the millennial shift is dinner a movie to, for lack of a better term, Netflix and chill.
Right. 'Cause with Netflix, you have no reason to go out to a movie.
And no reason to go out for dinner.
Right, because you can just get
In
delivery
DoorDash,
from anywhere.
you don't have to talk to anyone.
Right.
You order it on your phone, and it shows up.
I mean,
at your
well,
house.
let's talk about that Impossible Burger. Do you? I mean,
It sounds impossible to me.
is the restaurant business now going into a way where they have to? And I don't want to say it's going to come out wrong, but if they have to cater to every dietary need, I mean, yeah,
Are
people
you
are eating
okay
the
talking
burger.
about this, Karl?
Yeah, I'm ready to talk.
All right.
Been pumping yourself up.
Are people ready, or are restaurants ready to cater to everyone's needs rather than to have a menu that is to say what's on my menu is what you get? And one of the examples I'll give is if someone comes in and they want a vegan, something vegan, okay? And all restaurants have something vegan, whether they know it or not. How vegan does that vegan dish have to be before it's vegan? In other words, do I have to have a dairy-free kitchen before that is a truly vegan dish? Gluten-free. No kitchen is gluten-free. There are gluten-free items that don't include gluten, but every kitchen in the world has flour, has something in there that has wheat in it, somewhere in their kitchen. So unless you're specifically a gluten-free restaurant only, then, at what point are you not now catering to the ones and twos rather than to the masses?
I mean, we saw it with peanuts. I mean, 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, every single restaurant had a peanut butter dessert.
Mm-hmm.
They don't anymore. The nuts are gone. Peanuts and tree nuts have practically just vanished off the restaurant landscape because 1 in 10 children's allergic to peanuts, and they're not like, oh, it makes me sick allergic. They're like, get rushed to the hospital, get stabbed with an EpiPen, allergic to them. So those peanut desserts just disappeared. Now there's restaurants that have a sign or on their menu it says we're a peanut-free restaurant. I work in one. We don't have peanuts.
Bringing some in.
Well, I mean, and there's certain restaurants that are never going to get rid of it because that's their bar snack.
I was going to say,
Right.
then you have...
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Some corporate steakhouses that have buckets full of them.
Oh yeah.
What's
It comes off the list of places we can go. When I go out with certain friends of mine, it's like, hey, we're thinking about going. Never mind, they've got peanuts, and it's not like oh, we got peanuts in this. It's we got peanuts everywhere.
They're on the floor, and yeah,
Right.
They're in the air.
And
it's tough to be a peanut-free kitchen.
I mean, with some of the oils that you use and things
Absolutely.
like that,
There's
they're
peanuts and
sneaking
things
in
you
there.
never really thought they'd have peanuts in.
now, obviously, anytime you add kind of like a new option, there's new cost, but just even keeping the peanut out, does that increase the cost that you have to, or is there?
I don't want
peanuts
to
are
say it
pretty
increased
cheap.
the costs, but it definitely, I would say yes. It
Yeah.
increased the cost because now you have to pay people to be more attentive to what comes in. And not only could you not get peanuts in, but you can't get any products that were made in a factory that had peanuts in that factory.
Right.
So my flour might say made in a factory that has other items made with peanuts. I can't serve that in a peanut-free thing. So, I mean, just because that item is peanut-free doesn't mean there's not a trace of peanuts in that item.
Right.
I mean, I think most restaurants that say we're peanut-free just don't have peanuts and don't order items that are peanut, have them in them.
Right.
But, I mean, yeah, you get certain types of cookies that are made in a factory and you think, like, number 1, number 2, number 3 cookie from that company, and, like, 1 and 2 don't have peanuts, but number 3 looks like a peanut.
Right. And then you have things like, and this is the hot button issue for Karl, gluten-free, where some people legitimately have issues where they have to avoid gluten.
Right.
But then you have people
So
who are
I have a kitchen that's
air
not
quote
a gluten-free kitchen.
Gluten-free.
Right.
So if you have a true gluten-free allergy, and it's life-threatening, which you're out there, I realize that. if you come into my restaurant, I cannot serve you anything because even my gluten-free items doesn't mean I have a gluten-free kitchen that could cross-contaminate at some point to something somewhere. But then I've got gluten-free people that come in and say, listen, I'm gluten-free. Do your French fries have gluten? Do you, and we explain the whole situation where, it's a coated French fry. It has, a trace amount of gluten in it. And they would say, oh, well, all right, okay, I won't have that. I'll have the salad with my meal. That's gluten-free. And then they'll order a wheat beer. And I'll say, that wheat beer has gluten in it. It's all wheat. Oh, no, the beer doesn't bother me, just the food. Okay. So all of a sudden I relax a little. All right, yeah, you're all set.
There's some French fries on your
So,
salad.
yeah, if gluten bothers your belly, oh well.
But
If
drink cider and it,
Exactly.
probably going to alleviate 70% of your problem right there.
But I feel like a lot of it is people jumping to conclusions. Is they'll go out to eat, because I hear this a lot, that someone will go out to eat, or I'll go out to eat somewhere, and they'll be like, I don't eat there, I got food poisoning. I'm like, did you? Did you get food poisoning, or did you have something to eat and then later got sick?
Or I ordered the greasiest thing off the menu,
Right,
yes.
and strangely it didn't sit well.
Yep.
I ripped
And
16
72
shots
Bud
tequila.
Lights, but it was the
Yeah.
food that made me
Right.
sick.
Right. I got sick.
Happens
because
to
I
me
got
every opening game.
the poutine. Then I followed it up with a meat lover's pizza and 60 Bud Lights, and somehow I threw up that night.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't get food poisoning. Well, you got poisoned by food, but mostly because you ate too much of
Right,
it,
but
and not
in-
the right
And
stuff.
the flu's going around,
Yeah,
and it's,
you
it's,
could just get
yeah.
sick. It's not necessarily, but I hear it all the time. People be like, oh, I don't go there, I got food poisoning. And be like, you probably didn't.
Right.
Like,
It's odd for one person to
to
get food
right.
Yeah.
poisoning.
It's
at a
usually
restaurant.
like 15 people got
Right,
food poisoning.
Right, and you read about it in the paper.
Yeah.
That's right.
If you're the only person going out and getting sick with you, it's probably you.
Right.
Yeah.
If none of
Probably
your
you.
friends have corroborating evidence, I don't believe you.
Like someone could be not feeling well and cut gluten out and then feel better and be like, oh, I have a gluten allergy. It's like, maybe.
Right.
Maybe.
And you might.
Yeah.
It might be so mild that
Yeah.
all those French fries and wheat beers that you drank, it bothers your stomach.
I had a friend of mine tell me he was lactose intolerant. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, I ate a pint of ice cream and I don't feel good. And I'm like, could be you ate a pint of ice
right.
cream.
Well, it's
No,
that
I'm
you
sorry,
don't.
a gallon. It was a gallon.
No,
it was like
it's
a whole
that you don't
container.
eat a pint of ice cream often enough that you know that that's normal when you eat a pint of ice
Right,
cream.
exactly.
Like once a week, I'm like, oh, I ate too much ice cream, honey. I don't feel so good. And my girlfriend usually looks at me and goes, well, you ate a pint of ice cream
Yeah.
in a single sitting. That's why you don't feel well.
Well, listen, I actually legit have a hot dog allergy because every opening game, we go to see the Red Sox, and I'll have 42 Bud Lights and one hot dog, and I'm sick the next day.
Maybe you're allergic to the Red Sox.
Yeah, you might be
No,
able to have
it's
the
the
product
hot
on the
dog.
field.
It's a hot dog?
That's what I tell the wife. Oh, it must have been the hot dog. Yeah, it wasn't the 42 Bud Lights you had. It was the hot dog.
Right, that are coming in a giant
All of us,
goblet.
all of us that went don't feel good today. Stupid hot dog.
But, so let's go back to that Impossible Burger.
Okay.
Is it a good idea? Is it not a good idea? Is it a fad? Is it something that's going to be huge in the future?
It's not a
I'm not
bad
even
idea.
sure. What is it? What is it, like a veggie burger that tastes like meat?
It looks like meat.
It looks like meat. It
Bleeds when you cook it.
Yeah, it's made like
Yeah.
red beets or something like that.
But like when you cook it, the liquid that comes out of it.
So
Looks like
I'm a
when-
vegetarian,
Okay.
but I
How
want a burger
vegetarian?
that
How
looks
virulent of a
like
strain
meat.
of vegetarianism do you have?
Oh, I have.
This is a
I have-
hypothetical strain,
Yeah.
right?
I know,
Y-
but that's
well,
the real question
like-
here.
yeah.
How virulent of a strain of vegetarianism
Oh, yeah.
do you have? Are you vegan? Are you pescatarian? Are you
No, I'm
zero
Catholic.
cruelty to kale?
But you're right. I mean, and there's a million things.
I mean,
Ovo
get it.
lacto vegetarians?
I mean, at one point,
Are you a vegetarian tonight and not tomorrow?
vegetarians couldn't even drink Guinness.
Yeah, again.
Yeah.
Why are you in a bar?
I don't know.
Anyway,
Stay home.
so these burgers that come out.
Okay.
So I'm a vegetarian and I want a veggie burger, but I want it to bleed like meat. I mean, isn't that like the whole reason why I'm a vegetarian is because
But
I don't want that experience?
not really, because there are people that are moral vegetarians. That it's not that they don't like meat; they don't like the way that meat is obtained.
Okay.
So it's
So
not,
it's
it's not that they don't like cow or bacon or whatever.
they don't eat it
It's-
because they don't like what happened to the cow on the way to the table.
exactly. If a cow happened
Okay,
to
and what-
die
okay,
of a
so
heart
that's-
attack into a meat grinder, that might be a different story.
Well, do they want the live cow delivered? Because I've been to restaurants where you can have live fish delivered to the table, and I always get looked at strangely when I order them.
I don't know. And I'm just saying, I know people, there are
You ever see a live cow being delivered?
delivered?
Like
a baby
birth?
cow?
Like on Dr. Pole?
On Dr. What?
Isn't it Dr. Pole there?
I have
Yeah,
no idea
the
what-
veterinarian. Yeah.
Oh,
no,
no.
I've been in a barn when it's been happening.
That guy
And,
sticks his arm in places no arm should ever be.
I mean, my
And
grandparents
some
had a
people will
farm
see
growing up,
that
I've
and
seen
go,
it in
I'd
process.
rather have a veggie
But nobody
burger.
cares if you're sticking up a green bean.
How do you stick your hand up a green bean?
You apparently haven't hung out with
It's a
Karl on a
really
Friday night.
I got a really big garden.
All right. So, anyways, the Impossible Burger, not a sponsor, probably will never be a sponsor, is made from plant materials and to mimic a meat burger, and it's supposed to do a phenomenal job. I've never had one.
They don't smell like meat when you cook them.
Okay.
I've never eaten one, so I can't.
Well, can you get them cooked to like medium rare, or is it,
It
the same
pretty
kind of
much
thing,
almost always looks like it's medium. It doesn't change color when you cook it. It doesn't
doesn't.
gray like beef. I've cooked them, never eaten one. I just want everybody to know that.
No, I'm actually.
We're not going to judge it.
it.
Yeah, I
No, but some people that listen to this might, and they're probably going to be my friends and be like, "You ate an Impossible Burger? You're the guy who's."
but you're
sitting-
not curious. I'd be curious just to even try one.
Yeah, you know.
But I don't know if I'd get one
So
from
can
Burger
you get
King.
would it make sense to get an impossible burger with like cheese and bacon?
I mean,
Really,
you
if
could
you
do it,
don't-
but
if you don't like pigs and you do like cows, maybe.
But this is the other thing: is that the cheese may or may not be in your vegan lifestyle because the cow doesn't die to give you cheese. But some people still want nothing to do with any animal product. So it's a not all vegans are the same.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought they were all weird.
Nope. And none of them are listeners.
Well, cleared about 3% of the room there.
No, and some are. I'll tell you right now. I've had a variety of different friends who are strict vegans, and I find the ones who are brand new to it very difficult to deal with.
I think that it's one of those things where they tend to mild out with age.
Yeah, but I feel like when they start, they want you to be vegan, and they will not accept.
I mean, Scott Pilgrim, there's nothing worse than preachy vegans.
Yeah. Do you have people lecture you about your kitchen?
Not really. To be
About
honest
like
with you.
why don't you have a vegan kitchen or a vegan section?
No,
or-
I've had people call up and say, "Listen, are you a gluten-free kitchen?" And I would say, "We have gluten-free items." And they say, "Well, then you're not a gluten-free kitchen." And I'd say, "Okay, we're not a gluten-free kitchen." And they say, "Well, we don't understand what." And I'm like, "Okay, lady, it's just not the place for you. I don't have Chinese food either, but it's just not the place for you. You go to where you want to go, but this is not a gluten-free kitchen. We'll do some gluten-free items or gluten-sensitive items, but we're just not a gluten-free." But not a lot of people will come in and preach about, if they're a vegan, that we don't have enough vegan items, or even if you're not a vegan, I don't get complaints that we have too many vegan items on the menu. So not a lot of people are preachy. A lot of people are suggestive. They'll
Yeah.
say, geez.
You know what you should do.
Yeah, you know what you should do.
You've got strong suggestions.
Yeah. But
So-
no, nobody really comes in wants to modify your menu to you because of what they have. More people just ask, "Hey, listen, there's 8 of us and 2 of us are vegans. Do you have any vegan items?" And what I do is I say, "Here's the menu. If you have any questions, I can go ask the kitchen. But this is what we have. I'm not, if you want a salad, I give you salad. But I can't reinvent my kitchen tonight because you and your friend are vegans."
And so you cater to the vegetarians, the vegans, the gluten-free people. Where do you draw the line? Like, do you get people come in and ask, like, do you have a keto-friendly thing? Which I don't even really know what that is.
that's just bacon. That's all you
Yeah,
see bacon.
It's basically cheeseburgers on lettuce, and
Yep.
they drink. I think it's Miller Lite because it's got the lowest carbs.
That's crazy that you know that. I was kind of like figuring you're gonna be like, I don't really know what it is either. But
No, it's just it's a super low carb thing, but it's. I mean, I had a couple that
what
are
happened to
very
what
good
was
friends.
the other?
Atkins.
Yeah, what happened to Atkins?
There's a new
I think it's
Atkins
the
out
same.
there.
The
thing,
guy who-
just
the
they-
guy- the
it
guy
was too
who-
long of a word.
So they had to change it to keto.
Yeah.
The guy who had the Atkins diet, I think, had some health issues. Like Dr. Atkins. That's what happened. Right.
No, that was after.
The cheeseburgers and bacon diet.
no,
I mean, that guy
self-interest.
Didn't make out well for that
So
guy?
you can eat all the meat you want, unless you're on the vegan
Right.
keto diet.
The keto diet's the opposite of vegan. It's
Okay.
basically all animals and like lettuce, celery.
So if you're on the no food, all beer, it's just an alcoholic diet.
It's
Right.
called alcoholism.
Right.
Alcoholics are quitters. You'd be drunk.
Correct.
Good-
Right.
yeah.
Alcoholics go to
Solid
meetings.
logic.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep. So I'm a
So you'd be drunk.
All right. What else we got to talk about today?
Well, you want to do some questions?
Let's do some questions.
All right. So I got one here.
You didn't think we would go through all those topics.
No. This one. So you guys just want to see me butcher people's names.
Yes, we do.
Marianne Gonzalez. This one's pretty easy.
You just psych yourself up on these names now.
Well, I just feel like you're all looking at me. And
We
stuff.
are.
Yeah. it's not
Eye
helping.
contact. We're being polite.
All right. So, if someone tries to pay with a fake bill, are you supposed to keep it or return it to them? I keep it. Had a sketchy 3-top that tried to pay with a fake 100. They gave me another fake 100. No manager on duty. So Cook has been there for 6 years. I don't know what that has to do with this. And came to see what the problem was. He took the envelope and said he was going to give the police a call. They paid with a real 50 and left without causing a scene. So, long story short, oh wow, I guess this envelope had $900 in fake hundreds in it. So it wasn't.
Just wondering where he's getting them.
It wasn't an accident.
I mean, I have had some experience with this, and I mean, it used to be that you would call the police and they would call the special Secret Service and they would come down and they would swap it out for you. They don't do that anymore.
No, they keep it. If you go to the bank,
They just take it and
Yep.
they don't give you. It used to be like I got a fake 20. They'd come down, they'd give you a real 20. They'd take the fake one. They'd launch an investigation. They don't do that anymore. Don't take it.
Now, would you? So, say you have a 4-top and they try to pay. Would you call the cops while they're sitting there?
I mean,
Probably supposed to.
I'd take a
I
look
would
at
just
it.
keep on saying, I can't take this. Give me something else.
Yeah.
But let's say you do take, there's a table of 20 people and it's $900 and they pay you in fake bills and nobody catches it and you get $900 in hundreds and you go to the bank the next day to make a deposit. The bank says, we can't take these and we can't give them back to you. So you're out $900.
I would say you sit there and you call the Secret Service from the bank lobby. I mean, but also
So if
you
you-
got to remember, if you're calling the Secret Service into your restaurant because somebody's, got passing fake bills, do you really want the Secret Service in your restaurant?
I think that
What are you doing in your
I got bigger
restaurant?
fish to fry.
I think they're
Because
just
I
going
would
to ask
have
for some
no
security
cooks.
footage. I mean, I think they would just they would probably pull your security footage. I mean, they would launch
So would
an
you be
investigation.
completely out that money? Or-
I mean,
Yeah,
you
you
would
would
be
out
for
that
at least
money.
the length of the investigation, for
Right.
sure.
yeah.
They go through it because I'll be honest with you, I have asked a friend of mine who is in the Secret Service. I won't say his name because it's a secret. But
But a shout out to Bob.
But the thing is the reason they stopped coming down and swapping it out for the real ones is they figured out that the guys who were making the fake bills were going into work the next day, calling the Secret Service, going,
Like,
some
"Hey,
guy
man."
just gave me 5 fake 20s. Why don't you come down here with a real $100 bill? And they were swapping them directly to them. And they're like, well, we can't figure out where this guy got these from. It's because he printed them on at home the day before.
But we don't. I think maybe we had a fake 20 once in the 8-9 years that we've been there, so it's not very common for us.
I think I've seen 3 of them in 15 years.
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
doing
we
it.
had some when I worked in Framingham. We got like a fake 50 or something like that, but that's really the only time I've seen them. You hear about them. They do them down the Cape, I think. Every year you hear people down the Cape with fake 20s.
Yeah, no. It's not really an issue.
All right, then.
I would not want to interfere with the full faith of the American currency. Put that on the record right now.
So don't keep them. Give them to your restaurant. Let them be the ones to be out the money, not you.
That's correct. Give it back to customers.
Give back to the
Yeah,
customer.
Here's your change.
Make your own and give back fake change to the customers.
It's been like I
And then
paid
you're
in the
all set
20 and I
again.
got
Yeah.
$100
There we go.
back. This place is
We
great.
just started our own economy, guys.
Somebody tried to give me fake change once, and I'm like, dude, we don't even have a queen.
Same Monopoly money.
All right, this one's from Jennifer Moore. This one's a much less deep question. It says, what's the first beer or drink you made on your first ever bar shift?
Yeah, we don't make beer. We just pour them.
What is the
But,
first beer you poured or drink you made? Is that better?
Yeah. Yeah, it was actually a half Guinness, half Wachusett Blueberry.
Look at you jumping right into the deep end. How'd you
Black and blue, baby.
Did you layer it right?
Oh, I did. It was really
Yeah?
came out really nice. It was delicious.
I remember this one
Was it for
time.
yourself?
Well, yeah.
Well, nobody came in for the first 3 weeks in a row.
Still the first drink you made. I remember I was, where the hell was I? Actually, I know where I was. I won't say. And there was a new bartender on. She's like, "Oh, this is my first shift. Order something that I have to make. I need practice," kind of thing. And I'm like, "Oh, I don't really drink mixed drinks." I'm like, "How about a black and tan? Can you do that?" And she goes, "Yep." And she just like hauls off and pours the Guinness, and I'm like, "Nope, no, you can't."
Nope.
Nope.
Back to training.
Yeah.
And you tell everybody, too, that you can still get quality bartenders that have been doing this for a long time. And if you ask for a mix of Guinness and whatever, black and tan, whatever it may be, and you say, "But can I get the Guinness on the bottom?" And they're like, "Oh, yeah.
And they'll still try.
And then
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then they're like,
I wanna
wait a
try
minute,
that."
wait a minute.
Right, as soon
You
as
can
you
do catch them.
Yeah.
you can catch them because they never get that question and they never think about that. So next time you order a black and tan or a Guinness, half with anything, cider, whatever it is,
Ask for
the Guinness on the bottom and see what the bartender says.
Carl tried that on me like
And
once a
don't
week.
do it don't do it until they're just about to pull the tap. Wait a minute, can I get the Guinness on the bottom? Oh yeah, sure.
I love that.
Mine was probably a Bud Light to answer your question.
I mean, definitely it was either a Bud Light or a Red Hook, because that's what we had on draft at the stadium I worked at, where I was taking $6 and handing somebody a 20-ounce beer.
You started at a stadium?
Yep.
Oh. All right. This one is from Teresa Obst. Do any of you watch Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, Restaurant Impossible, Bar Rescue? Anyone ever been on one of them? Just curious.
I've never been on one, but I do watch most of them.
Yep. That's like a
But you
marathon.
got to remember, they're all staged.
Yeah.
They're all staged.
Oh, of course.
I've worked at 2 restaurants that had that go on there, but not while I was there. I mean, and I watched the occasional episode where I'm like, "Oh, this is a place where I've been before." I'll watch the Diners, Drive-Ins,
Right.
and Dives of it,
But they'll tell you what to say, when to say it, and if it's not right, they'll have to do it again in 10 takes. And so just because you're watching these shows on TV and they're, quote, reality shows, doesn't mean it's not staged for what.
I don't think
These
John
people want you to see it.
Taffer can be that big of a dickhead. And
He
sell
went
people.
from bar rescue to marriage
Yeah,
rescue.
no.
Like,
It was a marriage rescue?
Yeah,
yeah,
he
he
does.
does.
That's
It's
his
a
new
new
show.
show now.
He
It's
does
called
Marriage
Magic-
Rescue.
Oh, my God.
Marriage rescue.
Yeah. What's your expertise? Well, I hang out at bars a lot.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you're the guy to rescue this marriage.
well, he got bar manager or food and beverage manager of the year.
Yeah.
That's where he got that whole start. Was he ran the
Well, I mean,
sports book in Vegas?
Yeah.
Imagine that. That's a bar that's got a crowd every day. It's the only place for.
So yeah,
sportsbook
we do
gambling
watch
in the
those shows,
country.
and it is nice to see. And all you can imagine is these people coming into your place, and what would they would say? And,
and well, we've
Geez,
had a
I'm
couple,
doing all right.
couple local places that have been on Diners, Drive-Ins,
yep,
and
that's
Dives.
true. That's
Yeah.
true.
I don't know how I'd handle if it's pretend it's real. If John Taffer walked in and started screaming at everyone, I don't know how I would take that. I asked myself that when I watched the show. Like, would you stick around if he just got in your face, especially not the owner, or even being the owner if he just flipped out at you?
I feel like if I was on that or Kitchen Nightmare, the shows where they're like, your place is a shithole and going down the tubes, I'd suddenly be like, am I getting paid this week?
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
obviously
yeah,
are in
right?
trouble. I would immediately start looking for another job because those places don't really turn around.
No, they never do. They never do.
Yeah.
No.
Because by the time you're aware you're putting it on TV, it's like, hey, let's see if we can cash a couple more checks before.
Well, a lot
half
of
the
them-
time it's the health department's going to shut you down.
A
After
lot
they
of
see that
them
film.
have the makeover, and then they sell it right after the makeover
Yep.
because it's all new. But
Right.
yeah, I think I read online somewhere that 90% of bar rescue are not in business or are in business as something else after bar rescue.
Well, they'll sit them down and be like, well, how far in debt are you? And they'll be like, I'm in $400,000 in debt. And if I saw that guy walk through the door, being like, I'm John Taffer, I'd be like, I'm out. I'm going to get another job.
yeah.
Right, that would be the day that I was like, oh, you know what I could do today? I could update my resume. I'm going to go home
But
and
you
make
got to
sure-
remember, these guys are saying, "Hey, you're going to be famous I'm going to put you on TV right now. Oh,
Yeah, you're being famous as the bar manager of that place that got shut down down the street.
Yeah, exactly.
You're on
I'd be like, I'm
TV.
not signing that waiver.
Jameson shots of roaches in it.
Right, like
You're
by
going
the
to black
time,
my face out.
right? Yeah, I'm not signing that. You're blurring me out. That's like the kiss of that's I just got my real estate license, so this sounds like a really good idea for me. I'll probably have enough for a down payment on the first house I'm going to flip.
All right. This one says, okay, I really need some advice. I'm away.
Good thing you came to us.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we give advice.
It's advice, not necessarily good. Said,
You didn't say good or bad. You just said advice.
Advice, right.
Yeah.
I'm away opening a new location, left a cashier to basically run things. Been gone longer than I'd hoped, but she's doing great. We hired a new girl I've never worked with. I met her once when I stopped to get money. Her clothes were dirty. She looked a mess. I let her know that it was unacceptable and to correct it before her next shift. She did. Today she worked 2 hours alone. The other girl balanced the drawer before leaving her, and it was fine when she returned. She balanced, but the other girl had been gone an hour and a half, and it's short $115. Now they shouldn't have balanced. They should have balanced together, but they didn't. Apparently, she left as soon as she walked in. After she shouldn't have. There's a lot of she's here. Shouldn't have.
It's always the women.
So basically, new girl came in. She was a shambles. Said correct it. She did. Waitress showed up. Shambles girl came in. Waitress one left. Shamble girl worked for a few hours. Other waitress came back. Shamble girl left. Short $115. So the new girl just texted me and said she quit because the other girl embarrassed her. Who is responsible for the loss? Do they split it, or is the girl who left responsible?
I'll tell you who's responsible. That guy. Because you shouldn't. If you just said you open a new place and these two people are brand new, you left them alone, that's your fault.
Buck stops at the top, baby.
The first one wasn't brand new.
I mean,
But he even said, like,
Yeah, he left
didn't
them
know
alone.
that. Yeah.
with no instructions,
Or
no policies,
supervision.
no procedures, no supervision, and then the draw was short between these two girls, $115, and then he wants to know, or she wants to know who is responsible for it. Well,
Yeah.
you are. You should have had something in place to say.
Well,
you should have been there shift change. You
Right.
should have, like,
this person, I left out their name.
it was Jordan, wasn't it?
Dan Mahoney.
So they said that they were supposed to count the drawer together, to balance the drawer together, which they didn't do. So there was some procedure in place.
But they didn't enforce it. So it's, if you're going to tell me I have to do something, but then you just say, fuck it, I'm not going to check you doing it, I might not do it.
Right.
Get me the
So
fuck
there's
out of
procedures in place, but they're not following it. Then
there's no supervision.
that's right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Inmates run the asylum.
one cashier handing it off to another cashier, and the drawer's off. I mean, you should have had someone there.
There's no ending
Other than
count.
the
There's no
people-
beginning count. So there's everybody screwed it up.
Right.
So basically, there should have that shortage should have been brought to the attention prior to anyone leaving anywhere.
Right,
Exactly.
that's correct. The shambles girl, as we're calling her,
Shambles-
shouldn't have been allowed to leave until her drawer was balanced.
Right.
If he was
The
that
quick
worried.
exit and the I quit
Yeah.
right afterwards.
Is very suspicious.
Oh, very
Right,
guilty as hell.
Right,
Yeah.
right. That is, I'm leaving with this $115 in my
Right.
pocket before you realize it's here. And oh, by the way, I quit. That's so you can't fire me.
Because she embarrassed me. How did she embarrass you?
I don't know. What wasn't in the question, man?
You just said that she embarrassed me and then had to leave.
I know that part was there. I didn't
So,
embarrass her.
I just think it's. I think it's. I think,
Not
they're
Oh,
both,
it's very sketchy.
I think they're both wingnuts.
yeah.
All three.
All three of them.
Right,
yeah.
and there's no. If you've got one person counting the drawer, the other person counting the drawer, there should be a third person, maybe not in the room, but at least there to be like, well, hey, listen,
Right.
you know, I'm away. Opening a new location isn't an excuse to not supervise your first location.
Wait, I thought this was the new location they weren't
No,
supervising.
no. This was the one.
the old
The,
location.
the old location.
Still, should
Right, you should have,
You should
left
have
someone
someone
to
there, yeah.
supervise.
But if you're not being called up to say, "Hey, you owe me the 115 and you're quitting anyway," suspicious.
you
Yeah.
probably did it, but
But because you could say, "You know what? We're going to let this one ride, but going forward, this is what we're going to do." And she didn't even wait for that. She just said, "I quit."
Right, and there's also at your first, you know, the shambles incident where you went in and she was disheveled and such. I mean, there should have been some documentation there. If it's at that point where you're having a conversation.
Some
about
bars won't let you work there unless you're disheveled.
New World Tavern.
Yeah, we're dishevelished.
Go back and roll in the mud.
All right. We have one here, and this one is an anonymous.
Whoa, who's it from?
I'm not even going to address that one. It says, I'm encountering an internet bullying by a woman who tried to dine and dash last night. She grabbed a lot of people, made bad comments on restaurant page. Then I post her photo to tell the truth that she tried to run without paying. Should I take away the post?
Is this an owner or a server?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't really matter.
I believe it's an owner.
Stepping down into the mud fights you still come up dirty.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would
But if you're posting somebody's picture that's, chew and screw, and you're giving it to the other restaurants in the area to say, hey, just an FYI, this person is around chewing and screwing. I'm all right with that, but that wouldn't be public though. That would be like
that would be
private, right?
Yeah.
Even so much as like a Facebook group of all the restaurant owners in town. But I think the minute you go down into that mudslinging contest, you always come up dirty.
Yep.
Somebody puts a bad Yelp review, and you respond with, "Yeah, well, if you were more polite at the table and had tipped, we probably wouldn't have treated you like that."
And
that's
just,
probably
you're
not
gonna
the way to go about it.
I always tell people, I'm like, the only way to respond to a negative post is
With an equally negative post.
I'm sorry you had a bad experience. Please call me. We'll straighten this out.
Right. Give me an opportunity to make right on it.
Yeah.
Come back in. Sorry, we were having a bad day. Come in, and
But again,
I'll take care of it.
It might not be the situation.
No, you don't want the chew and
that
screw to come
twosome-
back.
Yeah, right. You just don't want to come back. You just leave it alone. Boom, gone.
Right,
Yep.
but you
Don't answer.
don't ever step down into that.
I always question places, and I've seen it.
And a lot of places do that.
I've
seen a lot
They
of them
respond
shoot
to every
themselves.
single thing. Well,
But I've seen photos of
How much
people
time do you
behind
have?
bars and behind counters being like, "Don't serve this person." And at what point is that libel? Like that you're basically calling someone out. Don't you have to be able to prove that before you can?
no, you can serve. You have the right to refuse service to anybody that you want.
But to put someone's photo in plain view of customers.
Behind a bar?
Behind a bar, behind a counter. I've even gone into convenience
like a
stores.
wanted ad?
Kinda. I've gone into a convenience
the wall
store.
of shame around college liquor stores is always a good one.
Yeah.
And I think that there's probably, somebody's legal team has got to have looked into this. But you go to certain liquor stores. There's one up by BU where you walk up and they tape every fake ID to the outside of the window.
Yeah, but that's a fake ID. That's not
Right.
you.
But it's usually
yeah.
your picture on somebody
Yeah.
else's numbers and
But I've
background.
seen I've gone into a convenience store and there's been a photo, been like, this person is shoplifted, blah blah blah. Well, me being a customer, how do I know that? At what point are you responding?
Well,
I bring it up
guess
because I've seen at bars pictures posted behind.
If you
where I can
posted it at
see
your
them.
own bar because it happened to your place,
Yeah.
and you posted it at your own bar, then that's, to me, is okay because it's a deterrent from that person to ever come back again.
But
because
in
their
view
pictures up there
of
saying,
other customers?
yeah, why not?
I mean,
I would never do it. Just
Yeah.
not my style.
I've never
right.
seen
I think
this,
I think
so-
it's a bad look, but I've seen lots of people and
Right.
lots of places do things that I think are a bad look and had it work for them
Right.
Yeah.
and have it be okay.
Because
Right.
that person's not going to come back and say, take my
No,
picture
but
down.
Take my
because
picture
you-
down, okay? Pay
They're
for
not-
that tab you walked
Yeah.
out on
That's
the
right.
other day.
So they're not coming in.
Right, I'll take that
It's
picture
like
down. as
it's
soon as
like
you give me
somebody
that
comes in with a fake
$42.
ID
Yeah.
and you take their
Well,
fake
I mean,
ID. They're not going to go to the cops and say, that guy stole my fake ID.
It's going to be posted up there.
Yeah, but it wasn't so much the that aspect of it. What, legally speaking, do you think it's legally okay to post something?
I think if you post it from...
I'll give you a total hypothetical.
I don't think there's a law
I'm
against
at the New World Tavern, and I put cash in the billfold. I put it down. I leave. Dan, who's sitting next to me, slips the money out of the billfold. The bartender comes
That
over and goes,
happened
"What
once.
happened?" Been like, "I don't know.
know,
That guy
because-
left.
Right.
I come back in. My
But you
picture's
don't.
up."
But you don't have a picture of that person. How are they getting a picture of that person?
Security camera.
I'm not buying it.
Right, but if they had a security camera, they're going to see Dan slide.
That's right.
Slide the
That's
money
fair.
out.
That's fair.
That's right.
That's true.
There goes your hypothetical.
But if
Andy.
they looked all the way, I'm just saying it could.
Before I put somebody's picture up on the wall, I'm watching the security footage.
Right.
Okay.
I'm making sure that.
Right. I'm making 100% sure that I got them dead to rights if I'm putting their picture up.
If you're doing
I'm
that,
just
you can't
curious
jump
in
to
that this
conclusions.
litigious, world.
Look at now he's using big vocab
Litigious.
words.
Look it up, Carl.
We're not lawyers here.
No,
But you knew it was a legal thing.
Yeah, because you said lit, like English lit.
Right.
So
Which
I
is
knew it
not
had
a
to be
legal
college. Right?
Still baffled by that. But all right, on that bad hypothetical, we will do last call.
Last call.
So Tony, last call is where we go around the table and we kind of plug whatever we want to plug. Could be your place, could be an event, could be Carl's place if you really wanted to. And so we'll start with Carl since I just kind of gave him a little dig.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for listening. Karl Heine from the New World Tavern, downtown Plymouth. Come on down. Great music, great food, great owners. Come on down and visit us. Tell us that you heard us on Bar Talk, and I'll buy you a beer.
Carl, I heard you on Bar Talk.
Me too.
Dan, did you hear Carl on Bar
No,
Talk?
I don't listen to Bar Talk.
Sorry. Sorry, you guys. I don't hear you. My mic shut off.
Dan.
Hey, Dan Mahoney of the now mentioned Stats Bar and Grill in South Boston. I don't have anything exciting to report, so let's just go no booze bullying 2019. Fuck your 2020, Andy.
2020 is not my year. It's just
Yours.
All
You
right.
claimed it.
So,
All right.
what do we call people from 2020? Were they born in
future
the
programs.
1990s?
What?
The long-term investment of our marketing strategy.
That's
There
too
you go.
long.
That is very wordy. Tony, over to you.
Tony Vannozzi, bar manager at Pinz. Swing on by. We're doing concerts most Fridays and Saturday nights going into the winter here. So come on in, bowl, play in the arcade, come have some beers.
Axe throwing still?
Axe throwing is still there. I forgot about that one.
Wrestling tomorrow night.
And we do have the wrestling tomorrow night.
Yeah, if when you're listening to this in a couple weeks, it was tomorrow night,
A couple weeks ago.
a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, but that's all right.
There's going to be some time in the edit.
I'm sure they'll be wrestling again.
Maybe by the
Hopefully
time
they'll be
we
wrestling
listen,
again.
they'll be wrestling again, and it will be tomorrow night.
Maybe.
Well,
You guys gotta think
Carl
ahead.
wrestles people out in that parking lot
So
on Wednesdays.
show
so.
up at Pinz Wednesday nights, and Carl will wrestle you in the parking lot.
Oh, please don't do that. Please don't do that.
Why? It's on the mall property. It's not your fault.
All right, so this is Andy of Inebriart. Thanks for listening. Thank you for writing in. You can find us on social media at Bar Talk Cast on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. You can write us there, or you can email us at bartalkcast@gmail.com. And thanks again for listening. Okay, thanks for checking out the podcast. And don't forget to check out our other podcasts on the Inebriart Podcast Network. There's the Bar Talk. There's Old Colony Cast. There's, of course, the Inebriart Podcast. And our latest, Retro Redoctopus, a kind of nerd genre podcast that you can check out now, all available on our website at inebri-art.com. And pretty much available everywhere that podcasts are available, on Stitcher, iTunes, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, all those things. And if you don't see it where you're looking, let us know. We'll try to get onto that as well. And you can also email us at inebriart@yahoo.com with your questions, complaints, and suggestions. And also, if you could take the time to rate and review us on iTunes, that would be phenomenal. That helps us get more exposure and bring more of these great podcasts to your ears. And thanks again for listening.